Friday Q&A. Here we go. We're going to get right into it. Today we're talking about soreness. I had a question from my buddy Chad here. I'm going to pull it up. He's a parent of one of our baseball guys. He's asking about soreness versus, is there good or is there bad soreness? And we're going to get into that. So here's his question. He says, I usually ask my son how he's feeling after he plays. Most of the time he says sore. Sometimes it's, arms, legs, core, shoulders, whatever it is. And I ask if it's a normal sore or a hurt sore, and it's usually normal. That's a good sign. We've been lucky that he hasn't had any injuries, and only once or twice did he complain about arm soreness after a long day of tournament games. With that being said, is that correct? Is there soreness that is considered normal after practices and games and workouts, or is any soreness bad? If there is a difference, what tips or advice do you have for parents and athletes to understand the difference? Thanks. Well, Chad, this is a great question. So when I'm looking at this here, I think a lot of people live in two camps. All right, they live in the camp that soreness is a really good sign, right? You worked really hard, you pushed yourself, you obliterated yourself, you left it all out in the gym, on the field, whatever. And then you have the people who are like, soreness is the devil. I don't want to be sore. It's not going to make me play good. It's going to mess me up. Whatever your excuse is, okay? Like most things in life, right? We want to kind of meet halfway in the middle, depending on what's going on here. So your first question here, is the soreness that is considered normal after workouts, practices, and games? Absolutely. This is a good thing. Means we broke down what we wanted to break down, and now we're going to try to repair that as fast as possible so that you get bigger, faster, stronger, or you ingrain a better skill for your sport. I would not say that any soreness is bad. I would say soreness at the wrong time is bad. I don't want somebody to be super sore going into an important game. I don't want somebody going in to be super sore when they're trying to learn a new skill, because that's going to impede their ability to learn that skill. So like if you're going to do a bunch of hitting or throwing as a baseball player and you're not very good at hitting or throwing, if you go sore, you're probably not going to get a ton better because you're already going to be going there pretty tired. Now, that being said, schedule plays a huge role in this. So when we get kids in here, and especially this is kind of what I like to kind of adhere to, is we have to really be mindful of their weekly, monthly, and annual schedule, because that's where we're going to take advantage of these opportunities to kind of give them windows to be sore and have it be okay. And then we're going to take advantage of windows where we can't have them really be sore. So we have to kind of scale the training accordingly. So when someone's in season, I'm going to err on the side of no soreness or as minimal soreness as possible while still being able to get a good effect. And then when we're out of season, I'm going to kind of go on this other spectrum where I'm okay if they're sore for 2 or 3 days afterwards, because we're taking advantage of time off. Hopefully they're not doing a lot of skill work. I think everyone needs a true off season in order to take advantage of training to its fullest. So what we'll do then is we'll start to push kids a little harder. We'll kind of ramp up the intensity and the volume of training in the hopes that when we get back to the season, we can kind of cut that down significantly, maintain, no soreness is acquired, everybody's a winner. The biggest difference is then that, right? So, you can think of normal soreness versus like bad soreness, which is going to be probably more like a pain sensation. So he uses a baseball example, right? I get a lot of guys who are kind of elbow, maybe wrist, or even just shoulder pain or bad soreness. I think there's not really a huge difference between the two for the sake of this conversation. I would say a bad soreness is more often than not what people would say overuse, right? So you get a bad soreness after a tournament when your kid just threw 250 pitches when he probably should have been only throwing 100. Yeah, that's probably a bad soreness. But that's pretty manageable if you simply just take the kid out and not have him pitch 250 pitches. That being said, for bad soreness, I do like kind of people shutting it down and taking a little bit longer rest. But then they can kind of come back in and you can kind of work around bad soreness in a training environment and actually most of the time get people leaving feeling a little better if you're smart about what you do. Double checking here. I think that answers everything. So just to kind of summarize this up real quick, Chad, yes, normal soreness, definitely. Workouts, practices, games. I'm hoping you're not too sore after practices and games all the time. Hopefully you're in good enough shape to where you don't get super sore. But in a sport like baseball where you're doing the fastest motion in sport, yeah, I can get a little sore, and that's totally okay. The problem is when there's a bad soreness, that's when we're talking stuff hurts, right? It's sensitive to the touch. You can't do a certain movement without getting pain, like a burning, stinging, stabbing, whatever kind of adjective you want to use, versus just tight, sore muscles, stiff joints. Stuff that you can remedy pretty easily just from moving around a little bit and get some good mobility work and aerobic work in. Hopefully these tips and advice help you guys out. If you got more questions or follow up to this, be sure to drop a comment, kick me back an email. Would love to address this more thoroughly if you want to know about it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy.